All right, so part two, we're actually going to dive into the frog and we're going to start off by making some of our incisions. All right, so what first we're going to do is make an incision going from the middle of the belly, from the pelvis up to the throat. So we're going to cut right along, making sure that we don't cut too deep. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to try to pull the skin out a little bit, create a little bit of a pouch. If we can do that, we'll get just enough to where we can just get through the skin and the skin only. So then I want to lift my scissors up. I'm going to cut through the skin, getting up through his chest or her chest. And then we're going to make two incisions going sideways from hip to hip and armpit to armpit. This allows us to have a viewing window into the frog's abdomen. So we're going to cut sideways, again, getting just underneath the skin. We don't want to cut too deep to where we're cutting into muscle. Okay. So as I go through and cut there, now I'm going to make my incisions coming this way. It's a little bit tighter across the chest. So again, trying to be careful, but I am still wanting to get underneath the skin and going out to the armpit there. So once I make my incisions, I've made my cuts, I should have what looks like a little doorway to where I can open that up. It's a little sticky still. Okay, open that one up. And then how do I do on this side? Same. Actually, I don't know if I got deep enough. Okay, so as I pull it open, okay, I can really see that inside of that frog. See if I can zoom in a little bit better. All right. Now that we're getting to some of the smaller stuff. Okay, so when I zoom in, okay, you can really see what is actually the abdominal muscles, so your abs. All right, so when you're sitting here looking, you can see the lines that come across, and then you can see the line that goes straight down. That's actually called your linea alba, and that's what runs straight down the middle of your abs. When people try to get their six packs to show, a lot of them are really looking for that that linea alba. Okay, so our abdominal muscles, again, it would be part of which body system? So after we get through that, we actually want to get to some of the structures that are underneath. So we're going to do the same cuts that we just did, just cutting through the muscle so we don't cut any of the interior organs. So we're cutting through our muscle, coming up through the chest. This one, sometimes we do have to break through the sternum, which is a bone, right? And if it's our bone, which system would the sternum be a part of? Okay, so as I make my lateral cuts here, cutting to the edge of the frog, I am going to do a little bit more kind of ripping, so it makes it easier for you guys to see. So there's one cut, and then I'm going to again turn it sideways so we can take a look this way. Again, try not to get too underneath because there are some structures right underneath that we don't want to cut through. So as I cut through our muscles here, it should start revealing some of those internal structures. Perfect. Yes. All right. So hopefully in the future we'll have some smelling TVs because you guys should smell how stinky this is. All right. All right. So if you guys are following along in your notebook, right, you should see a diagram that looks similar to this. All right. And so the first thing that we're going to notice is this gray thing right up in here. That's the very first thing you're going to see. All right. And that is your liver. Okay. Notice that the liver has three different sections to it. So 1, 2, and 3. All right. So it said find it and count the number of lobes. So you should be able to count 1, 2, 3. All right. And then there should be a greenish sac that's attached to the liver, and that is the gallbladder. And that guy is actually right here underneath this lobe. So if I pull this up, you can see that little structure right there that I'm pointing to. That there is the gallbladder. It stores bile, which breaks down fats during digestion. All right. So underneath the liver, all right, we're going to find the stomach, and that is actually this guy right here. Okay, look at that. Looks like it's full of some food. We know that it was eating because we pulled out some bugs already. So we know that it was eating. The stomach then goes again to the small intestines. So as if we follow this down, go into the small intestines, that's part of the small intestines, then goes to our large intestines, and then goes out the cochlea and then out of the body. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're at step number 6, using scissors. We're going to carefully remove the liver. So again, we can see some things that are underneath it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to make sure that we use some of these organs, but we want to see what's underneath without trying to be, we don't want to damage those other stuff. Okay, so I'm going to try carefully to take out the liver. Looks like I'm doing all right, not too bad. All right. All right, so liver's out, allowing us to kind of see more of this frog. All right. So I took out the liver, took out the gallbladder that was attached to it. All right. So what we're going to look at next is, I'm going to skip around actually, because it's actually, we'll stay in order. All right. So we're going to go with the digestive system. We're staying with the digestive system with our stomach. All right. So I'm going to go to the top of the stomach and try to cut that guy out. Right into the stomach, large system. All right, so I'm gonna try and cut out this stomach if I can. Try not to damage any of those other organs that are up there. All right. All right. All right. So as I've gotten out the stomach, some of these intestines are going to be coming through here. Okay, but notice that there's a lot of these things, all right, that are attached to it. Okay, a lot of different things attached. So what these are is these are going to be, okay, some of these stringy things right here. Those are our arteries and veins, right? Because our digestive system works very closely with another system. And what system is that? That would be our circulatory system. All right. So our digestive system breaks down what we eat, then gives it to the circulatory system, so that way it can transport it to the. Sorry, I'm off camera. To the can take it to the or transport it throughout the body. So you can see this is a long, look at it, long intestines. All right. So you can see that it's still breaking down some things, right? If I cut through some of these, it's still in the process of breaking down its food. So I move the frog over. So if I take out some of the intestines, it's still, again, breaking down some of its food. Okay, so that's it there. Again, if you cut open the stomach, which we know we're going to find some sort of something in here. All right. So again, lots of bugs. Okay. Lots of different types of bugs. There we go. That's better focus. Okay. So different bugs that come in that are able to eat. Kind of looks like some cockroaches or some roly polies. All right, but that's what these guys are doing. They're eating. It goes into the stomach where it then digests, right, through chemical digestion, right? There's two types of digestion, right? Chemical digestion taking place in the stomach, and then the other type is taking place in the mouth. What type of digestion is that? Right, that's going to be our mechanical digestion. So there's some of those guys coming out, some of those roly-polies that they were fed. Again, don't worry, these frogs were bred for science, so they were doing their job. Okay, so as we go down, all right, so we examine our stomach and our intestines. So now what we're going to do is look at our other systems, okay, which are going to start off with these guys up here. Okay, I am going to try to make this a little bit wider so we can see. All right, so these guys up here, sorry, I gotta. All right, so there's two pink things, pinkish grayish things, one here and one here, right? And these are the frog's lungs. Okay, so these are the lungs. This is the right lung, this is the left lung. All right, and the lungs are then part of which system? Which body system are the lungs a part of? Good, right, they're part of the respiratory system. All right, so we know that the air comes in through the mouth, comes down through the trachea, and then into the bronchial tubes into the two lungs. Okay, and then we also have another thing right in between the lungs, which is this guy right here. Okay, most of you should be able to figure out, right? If it's in the middle of our lungs, this little white yellowish thing is our heart. All right, and our heart is part of which system? Yeah, good. All right, that's our circulatory system. So our heart is part of our circulatory system. All right, the frog's heart has three chambers, where a human heart has four chambers. Okay, the two upper chambers are the left and right atria, and then the lower one is the ventricle. Humans have two upper atrias and two lower ventricles. So that's the difference between a frog heart and a human heart is the number of ventricles that it has. All right. Okay. And then lastly, we're looking at the kidneys down here at the bottom. All right. And the kidneys are these guys right back here in the back. Okay. These these dark brownish things, one here, one over here. These guys are the kidneys, and they're part of which body system? They're part of the excretory system, right? So kidneys, their job is to clean out and remove waste from the blood. So as blood comes in here, there's lots of tiny blood vessels, okay, capillaries in these kidneys. They clean it out. It then goes from the kidneys down into the bladder, and then from the bladder out the body. Okay, so lots of many things from our frog dissection we looked at from the outside to the inside muscles, and so I hope that you were able to enjoy the frog dissection through our virtual learning environment.